May 29th was a busy day for President Bola Tinubu, who called on the National Assembly to continue to collaborate with his administration in building a country of every citizen's dream. It was also made official that Nigeria will return to its old national anthem. Welcome to Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, President Tinubu made this announcement to a joint session of the National Assembly. The joint sitting was attended by Secretary to Government of the Federation, George Kuye, Ministers, National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, and other party leaders.
I'm saying we should use our voices. Can you say nay?
You rang out the latest national anthem. Nigeria will hail thee. Representing all characters and how we blend together to be brothers and sisters.
President Tinubu also announced that he will send the 2024 supplementary budget to the National Assembly soon.
I will soon bring the 2024 appropriation bill.
It's nice.
That is just for your information. But we must nourish this democracy, build this nation, so that the future of our great grandchildren will be sure of prosperity and development.
Member representing Shomolu Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives and Chairman House Committee on Public Assets, Honourable Kuye, joins us to discuss 1 year of legislative business for the 10th Assembly. We're also going to look at myriad of other issues. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Good to have you join us.
Samia, good afternoon. Nigerians, good afternoon to you.
So let's begin with the very clip that we just played, which is the change of the national anthem from the old one. We're back to the old one now. The new one now seems to be the old one. But Nigerians are wondering the thinking, around that particular move. It was faster in the House of Reps, when it comes to passing that bill than it was at the Senate. What was the thinking behind it?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about more important matters, but since you've brought it up, this is not the first time that bills are going to enjoy that kind of speedy passage. There are so many other bills that have been passed with such speed before. And for a matter as important as our national anthem, is not something that we should allow to linger on for so long. And there are processes that are followed. And, those processes have been well followed, and it has been passed. It's now our new anthem, and we'll enjoin all Nigerians to key into it. We are very familiar with it. I'm very sure you know that for those of us that were in school in the 70s, this used to be our main item that used to be the pride that we sing about so loftily. So we're back to it, and it's for all Nigerians to learn to sing now.
And I like that you said that for a matter as important as our national anthem, because it is an important issue. The national anthem and the national flag are the national identity of any country. And so that's why we're starting with it before we move on to other issues. And I want to remain on that issue. Two things that people are picking out. Number one is the fact that there is a part of it that says native land. And, they believe that should have been at least changed to fatherland. And then those who say, look, this anthem wasn't written by a Nigerian. It was written by a foreigner. How do you respond to those comments?
Well, don't forget that the Nigeria that we even call ourselves today was given to us by foreigners, by the colonial masters, and so many other countries like that still bears such names. So what's the difference between the national anthem being given to us by... It is not the person that gave it to us that really matters as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the membership of the National Assembly is concerned. It is about the wordings that is contained therein. Because when you look at the diversity amongst us and the need for us to continue to reiterate that our unity must be built on our diversity, our tribes, the anthem says that though our tribes may differ, but in brotherhood we stand. We need to continue to preach that brotherhood. For the man in the north to know that the man in the south is his brother. As long as we call ourselves Nigerians, we are brothers. Those are wordings that are very, very key and should appeal to the psyche of the new generation. Particularly if you look at the part that the last campaign took, you will appreciate more why we should go into this anthem.
All right, so let's move on to other issues. You have you are in the 10th House, and it is going to be 1 year soon of the 10th National Assembly. This is the month. This is June. And so there have been criticisms, around some issues. There have been, commendations around some other issues. But I just want to ask you how you think that the 10th Assembly, especially the 10th House, has fared in the last 1 year.
Well, a lot of things have been passed. For me, like the Southwest Development Commission bill has been passed. It's been referred to the committee, and I'm sure that will soon be passed. From our last report from the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, over 3,000 motions with resolutions have been passed, and bills over 2,000 have passed the first readings, and some have even passed the second reading and sent to committee stages. I mean, the work has been quite Herculean, but members are living up to it, and they are doing very well. I can say convincingly with all sense of responsibility that this 10th Assembly have really done well. Particularly, if you look at the speed at which we even passed the appropriation bill, to make sure that, the new government that was coming in just at about that time, hit the ground running. So a lot of things have been done to support the government.
And which of these bills will you say has direct impact on Nigerians? Because for Nigerians, well, it doesn't seem like those at the 10th Assembly really do care about them. It seems as though everyone is there just to for themselves and not necessarily for their constituencies. And so when you look at all of these bills and motions you have talked about, Which of them has a direct impact on Nigerians and has had tremendous impact on Nigerians?
Okay, let me mention some of the bills that I have put before the House. For example, there is a bill for the establishment of an institute for printing and artwork in my constituency that has been passed, is now in second reading. And there are other bills that have been passed for the establishment of federal medical centers. You will notice that up to date, we only have one federal medical center per state. And the National Assembly has looked at it as being insufficient. And, I'm aware that bills regarding the establishment of federal medical centers have been passed by the House and awaiting presidential assent. I'm aware that, the issue of labor has been looked at. For example, the labor bill that I moved has, reached the committee stage. Some of the issues that the labor unions are raising now have been addressed in that bill, And I'm sure that by the time we pass that too, and the president has sent to it, a lot of things concerning the agitation by the labor unions are going to be settled. There are so many other bills that I can't begin to mention one by one right now.
And the biggest issues, what you just raised are important issues, but for Nigerians, the biggest issues will be security and the economy. When you look at the commodity prices, the inflation rate, and then, the rate of kidnapping as well. And these are the important issues for Nigeria. Not that others are not important, but because of where we are today. Has anything been done at the House to address these particular issues?
I'm aware that the leadership of the House has established a lot of ad hoc and special committees to look at the issues of security. And I'm aware equally that a lot of the motions brought by members, address those issues in the various constituencies. If you have been listening to us, you see members bringing reports of attack by bandits and insurgency all over the place, And don't forget that we don't have the power to execute. Ours is to pass the resolution and ensure that there is compliance to those resolutions. I'm aware that the leadership have even come up with an holistic, solutions to most of these security issues. And they have been sent to Mr. President. And I'm sure that their team are equally looking at it. I'm aware that the National Assembly has intervened in so many ways at addressing the issue of inflation and the devaluation of the currency, And don't forget that so many times we have had to invite the leadership in the finance sector, the Minister for Finance, the CBN governor, and the issue that deals with taxation, double taxation, have been addressed by the National Assembly, and we have passed resolutions concerning them, that will impact on Nigerians. Those are the things that we have done too.
And you say you do not have the power to execute, but you do have the oversight power, and that is the power to monitor, to evaluate, and to call to order. And that the last part of calling to order is perhaps what most Nigerians say they have not seen, that the executive and the legislature are almost intertwined and looking as though, it's one arm of government instead of two because of the relationship. They feel like, the 10th House has not done so much in terms of its oversight and calling to order. And so how do you also respond to that?
Well, I don't agree to that position, my dear sister. I don't agree. Because the truth of the matter is that if you look at what has been happening, and if you've been reading, following the news, you see a lot of investigation going on. by most of the committees. For example, I cite my committee, the Committee on Public Assets. You know, we were recently investigating the sales of 2 helicopters by the National Institute of College of Aviation in Kaduna, where they sold 2 helicopters. And we have gotten to almost our conclusion of that investigation, if you have been following us. Equally, there's been oversight over from the public account departments, you know, over expenditure of state agencies. There's been oversight investigating the issue of spending of the COVID fund. The Committee on Works have been going up and down, you know, ensuring that contracts awarded are executed, and there's delivery on time, you know, of those projects. We have actually been working. There's been an investigation, other investigations that deals with the public assets. We have been working hand in hand with the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, ensuring that we have a comprehensive register of all the assets of the federal government to ensure that there is no pilfering of those assets, ensuring that those assets. Just recently, the House passed another resolution, you know, directing the anti-graft agency to begin to release forfeited assets to agencies that are still in rented apartments. These are things that are going to save a lot of money for the federal government. And those money can now be, you know, invested into more infrastructures for the country.
And we will get to that shortly, because that's the issue around the public assets. I know that there's an investigation around that. And we will get to that shortly. It's quite an interesting one. But I want to stay just on this for a while before we move on to that conversation. You have talked about, you know, all of the investigation ongoing. We've also seen situations where you have summoned ministers, you have summoned heads of agencies. But, you know, and that's where it ends. It's just the summons, and, you know, nothing follows through. No order given, nothing much more than that. And Nigerians are wondering, do you just do this summons just to show that you have the power to do it? Or is that something that you're actually trying to achieve, you know, when you do that?
Well, probably because you have not been following the news, and I'm sorry to say that, because some of the agencies have been asked to refund some money back to government. There have been resolutions to that effect. Some of the agencies have been referred, their matters have been referred to anti-graft agencies. Some government officials have been sanctioned by the National Assembly, and those sanctions have been forwarded to the executive for implementation. And we are following up on some of them. For example, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm sure that if you've been following what's been going on in the Public Assets Committee, you'll notice that you know, we have had to sanction some of the officials of governments, you know, and say that, look, this cannot be done. For example, we were looking at some of the assets sold, you know, particularly the federal government properties that were sold, and we discovered that mainly they were undersold, you know, undervalued.
Honourable Kuye, we have enough time for that, because
yes,
we'll have enough time to talk about that, because that's where I'm going next. But I just wanted to take another 5 minutes to have, because I know that that's a whole conversation that we must have. But I want to take another 5 minutes on this conversation. And when you say, oh, probably we've not been following the news, I mean, this is a news station and that's what we do. But I also wanted to, because what really matters to Nigerians, I have said that before, is security and economy. Yes, other things have been done in other areas. Are you satisfied at this moment, or is the House satisfied with the performance of those who have been charged with the security of this country?
Well, the issue of security is a very serious one. the fight against terrorism is a global one. And I cannot say that I'm satisfied with where we are right now, because until every part of the country is secured, that's when I'll be satisfied. But so far, our military men are doing a yeoman job, knowing that the country is surrounded by, countries that they don't seem to have democratic governance. For example, when you look at Niger Republic, you know the kind of number of bandits that are coming from that region, and you look at the land space of Nigeria. You look at Chad, that has just conducted elections. You look at Mali up there, you look at everywhere. The country is so porous. And they need to be more policed. There needs to be more recruitment in the Nigerian army. There needs to be more equipment for our military personnel. So I'm not satisfied, but they are trying their best.
So, Honourable Kuye, we're going to take a break now.